You did wonderful things, my friend. Now, about this campaign, who else have you spoken to about this? You would need to build a team.
Well, I'd get the printers rolling pronto. Make masses of copies. Plaster them up everywhere.
I can't do that. It's illegal, I think. I can't break the law.
It depends what law you're talking about.
I agree with that.
The missionaries that were sent to Jamaica regarded slavery as a legal rather than moral issue. So turned a blind eye to it.
I mean, sometimes you can be doing the right thing but still be on the wrong side of the law.
What happened to you?
I died in prison.
What?
The king sent me to prison because of my beliefs.
You knew the king?
Yes, I was born into the right circles, I suppose. At least I thought I was. My uncle was the Sheriff of London, and I died in prison. I mean, can you believe it?
Well, it's quite exciting that the king even knew about you.
Not exactly. The fool wrote to him and sent him a short declaration of the mystery of iniquity.
Iniquity?
A gross injustice.
Can I read it? A short declaration.
Perhaps if you hadn't written that book and sent it to him, you wouldn't have been put in prison.
If you want to bring about change, you have to go to those in charge.
Look, there's something to be said about those that are oppressed make their own freedom, rather than simply having it granted to them by those in authority. That is true liberation.
If those in power are making the decisions, then change is instant.
Instant? On paper, maybe.
Or focus on making a change within your own community. I certainly didn't have any time for King.
He needed to read it.
And did he read it?
Well, I can't know that for sure.
Can I have a summary?
Religious freedom.
Something we can agree on.
I argued that while the king could rule in political matters, he shouldn't have a say in spiritual matters. I mean, no one should be forced to profess their religion against their conscience, whether they're non-believers, Muslims or Jews. Why shouldn't you worship what and who you want, and worship in the way that you want to worship? I mean, whether that be song, dance, poetry. I mean, if you want to kneel or bow or meditate or chant, why should that be decided for us? I mean, it's like when someone's standing there and saying, "Hey, you there, you can't read that scripture, or you have to believe in this." You can't dictate what a person believes. I mean, that's foolish.
Tom wrote the first plea for universal religious freedom in the English language.
The first time someone openly said, you can decide your own religion. People must have been overjoyed.
Well, not all people took it so positively.
No.
They put me in prison.
You wrote a book, cussing the king, and then sent it to the king? What did you expect?
I didn't expect to die in prison. My cousin is a knight.
You must have sold loads of copies. Like the Harry Potter of the 17th century.
The majority of the population being unable to read makes for less impressive book sales.
But he allowed something to be accessible to many more people than it had done before. People could start to educate themselves, to access new ideas.
I should have stayed in Amsterdam.
You did good work, Tom.
When did you go to Amsterdam?
Well, we had a growing congregation of like-minded thinkers. Although we met in secret, a lot of people found out about us.
Where did you meet?
In my home. The church authorities were angry. They arrested my wife Joan and questioned her. It wasn't safe to stay in this country. I wanted to read my Bible in freedom. So, John and I fled.
You ran away with your wife to Amsterdam.
He said John, not Joan.
No, it was John Smith. Very dear friend. He was a wonderful academic and forward thinker. But our brothers met us in Amsterdam, and there we could be free to read and study and pray and read our Bibles as we saw fit. No priests to intercede us. No, we could pray as we wished. As John led us, we became more and more convinced that it was Jesus that should lead us in our spiritual lives. And everyone should have a say in how the church was run. Not priests or pastors or kings to make those decisions. But because I'd emigrated illegally, my home in Broxtowe Hall was seized by the king. Fortunately, we met a baker, Jan, in Amsterdam. And he used to bake biscuits for sailors that would be returning after bringing back silks and spices from India. No, they let us use a room in the bakehouse. And there we could read and study, and we discussed everything. It wasn't simple, but we slowly come to the realization that baptism was for people who actually believed. People believed that you should be baptized from birth. But our conscience said that baptism can only be for believers who'd been convinced of the need and forgiveness of God. And so, John baptized himself as a believer. And then he baptized the rest of us. So we lived in Amsterdam for several years, and eventually our ideas and beliefs were no longer aligned with each other. Our understanding of the Bible differed. And in 1612, we went our separate ways. A lot of them went to join the Church of the Mennonites. Myself and 10 others went to London and built a new church in Spitalfields, the first Baptist church in England. I wrote a lot about religious freedom, taking all the main religions. And then I got sent to prison.